Hi, everybody. Russ on the West Ham Network. Hope you're safe and well. Happy Friday. A little bit earlier for the press conference today. Usually the press conference is about 1:30, and then there's the embargo section. It was actually early today, so we brought you this video, this synopsis, this instant reaction synopsis of the David Moyes press conference. It's a bit earlier than normal. I'll be back in an hour or so doing the live show, so keep an eye on that about midday. So 12:30. We'll also have John T. Coleman from Football London's reactions after the embargo section. That'll be out this afternoon. And then also, I believe we've got the late show with Tommy, with Irish Tommy on tonight. So check that out as well. And then tomorrow, we've obviously in preparation for the game at 3:00 against our hoodoo bogey team, Brighton. So that'll be on tomorrow with all the opposition chat, our predicted 11s and the watch alongs, and then the review show afterwards. So, in terms of the team news, that's what we want to know. Obviously, what do we want to know, Dave? What's going on with the team news? This is what he said. Kurt Zouma is doing better, and Maxi is coming on. We'll see how he is, and hopefully, we'll get him closer to the first team. I think that's in relation to Maxwell Cornet, who apparently is gonna get some minutes tonight. West Ham play Man City, the under 21s PL2 game. I believe that's on YouTube, 7:00 kickoff in the UK, and apparently I've heard he's gonna get some minutes for that, so we'll see what happens. So it doesn't look like he'll be in the squad for the Brighton game, but maybe Kurt Zouma, because he hasn't really spoken much about him. So we'll see, and we'll do our predicted 11 later on. Obviously, we come out of the game from Man United. Moisey was asked several questions about any lessons learnt from that game, how he thought it went, and he goes, we can take a lot of positives, but at the same time, there is a disappointment. We had an opportunity to go through and didn't make it. I used to use the word flaky here at West Ham. I've got rid of it in the last few years, but we certainly were for the last 15 minutes. It's no point being that, coming and turning up and only to do that at the end. And I totally agree. We were flaky in that last 15 minutes. I think for the best part of 60 minutes, 65 minutes, we gave them a good game, and then we scored and just went in ourselves. And Man U sort of turned it on and brought on the likes of Rashford and Martinez, and obviously Casemiro was already on, and they brought on Fred, and yeah, we just capitulated. And obviously very unusual for the likes of Aged to have an absolute appalling 15 minutes, in all honesty. And obviously Antonio didn't play well, Area. As I said, today's Man United loss in terms of True Sesame Street, was brought to you by the letter A for Areola, Aged, Antonio, and Alejandro Garnacho as well. So yes. Now, obviously, one of the things that we've is obviously been key to West Ham not being turned over. I think 3-1 is our biggest defeat this season. Is biggest defeat. We don't get turned over a lot, and he was asked about the defense, which has improved. I think it's become stronger in the last, particularly since the turn of the year. And indeed, someone put out a stat, and we haven't gone behind in the first half at all. I know we're sort of clutching at straws, but so there is definitely a keep it tight for the first half and then see what happens. And unfortunately, sometimes the Tottenham game, particularly, and the Wolves game, Wolves, where we both lost those two games, where second half wasn't as good as the first half, and obviously the Man United game as well. Asked about the defence, Moisey said, in recent weeks we've kept a clean sheet against Forest. Probably one of our strongest areas in the season. Bless me. But we have to be better in defence. I'm allergic to press conferences in defending than we were on Wednesday. And that makes perfect sense. Perfect sense, Dave. We know that. We've got the sixth or average this or joint sixth meanest defence. We haven't conceded a goal by corner all season. Now, interesting enough, apparently, looking at the stats, Brighton have scored 5 corners in the last 8 times playing West Ham. So we haven't conceded on a corner this season. So we know the stars are going to align there. And obviously one player who people were thinking if he was playing, we would have won on Wednesday was Danny Ings. There's several times where there was passes and crosses straight across the box where Danny Ings would have been there to knock them in. And obviously he'll be back. He was cup tied for the Man United game. Asked about what Danny brings. He goes, well, what I've seen is what I expected and what we hope we continue to get from Danny. Score goals throughout his career, and we hope that he carries on here. And obviously scoring a brace technically on last week, only gonna help bring all that sort of continuity going forward. And obviously, we're at the FA Cup now, and so we've got, obviously we've got the Premier League, and then obviously Europe. We can talk about Europe in a minute because he was asked questions about obviously Europe starting again. Asked about obviously afterwards there was it was like a Man United loving on ITV, wasn't it? Which surprised me a bit with Wrighty, obviously ex-West Ham and ex-Arsenal, and bloody Joe Cole. You thought he would have tried to even it out a little bit, but Keane dominated that sort of post-match analysis, and particularly was scathing about Declan Rice. And I was listening to the Moose on TalkSport this morning. He was sort of saying, it was this morning or yesterday, I can't remember my days, but basically he was saying, I don't know what Keane's saying, and obviously Moyes was asked about Keane's comments on Declan Rice, how he wasn't this top player. He goes, I think Dec's been an amazing player for us. 40 caps. I have no doubt he'll be a future England captain. I believe he will play at the highest level in the future. We hope it is at West Ham. That'll be our choice. Would it be our choice though? Roy Keane was the best midfielder on his generation, and that's true. He was, but I think it was totally uncalled for, I think, with this Declan Rice comments. And it's one of those things. I think everyone outside the top six, unless he plays for you, you don't rate him. You don't rate him as highly as I think people should do. And I thought he was, first half, that Man United game, he ran that midfield so much so that they had to bring Casemiro on, and I thought then it was a lot more even second half in the midfield battle. But yeah, strange comments from Roy Keane, but he's a strange person, and he likes having the column inches, doesn't he, so to speak. Obviously, Saturday, Brighton, we'll have the opposition chat, we'll have all the starting 11s, the watch-alongs, all that type of stuff. Obviously, we know the stat. We haven't beaten them in the Premier League ever. The last time we beat them was in the Championship. We won 6-0. Great game down the old. What's the road? What's the road you go? Because you drive past it, don't you? On the way to Lewis and stuff. I can't remember that. My brain's gone to mush today. But asked about Brighton, and he asked a few questions, so I put them all together here. Brighton have been a bit of a bogey team for us, and we have to overcome that and change it if we can. I think 11 times we haven't defeated them in the Premier League. Recently, we had a draw away from Newcastle, a draw at Leeds. We've got to find a way of picking up points away from home, and we have to keep on doing that. We've been impressed with Brighton because they've built through a model. I think Brighton have been at it for 10 years, and you can see they've brought in younger players who maybe aren't ready at the time and give them a couple of years to come through. They're doing a good job at the moment. It's not just me. It's been hard against Brighton, but many managers, and particularly this year. I mean, they're playing well this year, obviously. The new manager, so to speak. Well, he's not new now, but he wasn't Graham Potter, and so I think Brighton have a step change. I think they've actually improved since Potter left. So, he's gone to Chelsea and hasn't improved them either at the moment. So, it's not a great resume for him so far in terms of his Chelsea career. And I think in retrospect to Brighton, I mean, he built them up, but they have a model, haven't they? It's Brentford, they have this sort of production model, recruitment model, and they could be pushing for a European place this year. So it's gonna be tough. It's always going to be a tough place to go to Brighton. It is for some reason. And for us, it's just this voodoo, this bogey team, in the truest sense. The likes of Danny Welbeck become prime Ronaldo when they play West Ham. And I think it's going to be a battle, that's for sure. And obviously we come out of the game on Saturday and then probably a day or so, 2 days rest, and then we fly off to Cyprus for the for the last 16 first round leg away to AEK Larnaca. And asked about Europe. Obviously, we haven't played in Europe for a few months now. It's all coming back. It's not an easy thing when you play Thursday, Sunday, of course. I don't think the Premier League has helped putting this game on a Saturday after the cup tie on Wednesday, but we turn up and play. Unlike Arteta, fair play to Moyes, unlike Arteta, who was like, moany, Wednesday, Saturday, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it should have been changed, but hey, it hasn't. We play. Fair play. Anyway, carry on. But we're looking forward to the Sunday, Thursdays because it means we're competing in Europe. And that's it, exactly. I mean, we've got an absolute pig's ear of... actually, not, no, because we've obviously got these sort of quick games in succession, 2 game weeks for the next 3 weeks. and then we've got the international break. Actually, I think actually after the Larnaca game, I think the home game, the Man City game was meant to be. Is that when the 5th round is meant to be? Because I think that might be pushed back then, and that might be postponed. So we might have no game that weekend, and then we've got a 2-week break for the internationals, and then April. Busy times in April. I think we've got something like 7 games at the moment. It could be as many as 9 if we get through to AEK Larnaca. I think it includes potentially 6 home games, 7 home games if the FA Youth Cup semis are played at London Stadium as well. I believe, if that happens, there's been 9 Premier League. And we're going to talk about that later on because I think, with the food banks and stuff, I think. Anyway, keep an eye on that. Anyway, that'll be something we announce in the next sort of few days and stuff. But it's gonna be a hell of a ride until the end of April, that's for sure. So I think it'd be nice to have sort of those two week break just at the end of March, just for us more than anything to decompress a little bit, and then go again. April's going to be an absolutely huge month for us, both in the Premier League and in Europe, hopefully. And that's it. That was it. As I said, John T. Coleman will be back from Football London, giving us his synopsis from live from the car park at Rush Green. Bless him. That'll be out this afternoon. I'll be back in about 45 minutes. And yes, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, and I'll see you soon. Ciao for now, my friends. Bye bye.